What are you doing, Arch? No, it's not a Halloween stunt, fellas. I'm going to be showing you guys. Well, actually, hold on. Let me shut this off. I'm showing you guys how to refit your light fixtures, your fluorescent light fixtures, for something a little bit more modern that's going to save you some energy, save you some money, right? On a budget, fellas. Everything's on a budget. So stay tuned and let me dig out this fixture and get everything out and get everything ready for you guys. And we'll see how it works out. Well, we know how it works out, Arch. It's going to work out, fellas. All right, I dug out one of these. Let me just kind of vacuum and wipe that off a little bit or something. I want to clean this up, clean this off a little bit. Unfortunately, I put away the hose already, but we got plenty of bulbs. There's bulbs in there. So I'm going to be going through these bulbs too, sometime tomorrow or whenever. And we'll get started in a minute. All right, standard fare, 4-footer. Let me get the bulbs out. I'm going to just kind of clean this out a little bit, make sure it's clean. It looks pretty clean, but it might be a little dingy yellow, so we'll put a little super clean on that. Okay, I did the first one. So essentially, we just abandoned the one on, we'll call it the left. All right, just pick one. And the one, either you add one in or take the one you have and cut it and piggyback it all the way over on the right-hand side. All right, so this becomes one side. All right, so remember the bulb's 4 foot long or 2 foot or whatever. So we're going to pick up the wire on one side, pick up a wire on the other side. It doesn't matter whether it's neutral or hot. It doesn't care. Ground goes to the chassis of the light. So what I'm going to do, so on this one, it happens to be on this side. The other one, it might be on the other side. I'm going to have to lengthen it. Now, this is solid wire, right? These are, they're like the outlets. I'm going to do the other one in a minute, but you know how the outlets, they have a spot where you could plug in. These don't have it, but you see these old outlets don't have it. Well, actually, no, it has a strip gauge on it, but a lot of the outlets have one. That's because it's GFCI. But there's a strip gauge, and then you can shove it in, and it's got a finger in the socket that's sharp and grabs the wire. It only works on solid wire. But if you want to use hookup wire, like machine tool wire, which I'm going to be using, you could tin the end and shove it in there and it'll grab. You just want one less splice. So what I used was a pick, like a dental pick, whatever, and you just kind of shove it in there. It releases the lock, and I can remove the wire that I don't want. We don't want to snip it and leave it hanging because it will be live and it could touch the chassis. And so this is nice and clean. Now let me install this, and I'll go get the other one, and I'll show you what I'm going to do to that, right? So let me get this out of the way. All right, fellas, so before we get into the video, I got to cover some of the techno babble stuff, okay? I have the light a little bit low in here. That's all right. Why? Because I want you guys to know what I'm doing and what I'm using, all right? So this is a T8 bulb, and the manufacturer is Kihung. That's Kihung. I don't know if they're any better than any others. So T8, we'll get to that. Its color temperature is 6,000 Kelvin. All right, so that's very white. And because I know a little bit about that because of the cameras, right? You got a white balance, what color. Some of the lights in here are sodium. A couple of them are sodium. That's why a lot of times you see an orangey glow. They are closer to like the full range of sunlight at the end of the day. And they were fine when I put the shop together, and you know, now I got one outside. I think the transformer burned out, and so it's time for them to go. Sodium lights are very efficient, but they require a very large transformer, magnetic transformer, similar to this, okay, to get the gas inside the bulb to light off. And I probably have a light bulb around here somewhere that I can show you. Yeah, I do. Hold on, I'll show you real quick. So let me come around. I'll edit. No, I won't. You're not going to edit it out, John. So this is a sodium bulb. real Edison-y, but there's a sodium gas in here and it requires a very high voltage. And it gets hot. So although it puts out a tremendous amount of light, they used to use them for street lights. And I have a couple of those. It gets hot. It's not as efficient. Okay, now a fluorescent bulb can't put out the amount of light as a sodium bulb, but you know, they're not efficient anymore. These are efficient. So about how efficient? Well, it really depends. A couple of numbers I'll throw out there, between 20 and 50% more efficient than fluorescent. And it depends. Most of my fixtures these are the old heavyweight magnetic ballasts. Basically, it's a transformer. They call them magnetic ballasts. These use more power for a fluorescent system. There's an electronic balance out there that balance. Some of these actually required this little starter type things that you kind of clipped in. So this isn't that old, but I actually have, I think, a couple in the basement that still have that. Remember those old little starters? So there's an inrush of current, and the fluorescent bulb itself uses a lot of power in the sense of it requires a very high voltage, right? You can make a Jacob's ladder out of this, right? Take like rabbit ear antennas, and if you connect it properly, you'll see the spark jump the gap and go all the way up to the top. We used to do that when we were kids. So what's the difference, right? So we'll take you from here, all right, magnetic balance. Of the fluorescent variety, this is going to use a lot more power. So probably this bulb is somewhere around 50% more efficient than what I'm currently running in a lot of the fixtures here. Probably about 20% more efficient, roughly, over a fluorescent bulb using an electronic balance. And also there's no UV. Okay, so it's easy on the furniture and what have you, because there's no UV. Now you can't use them as a grow light or anything because there's no UV. That's another feature. T8, okay, is one of the designations for this bulb. And although it has the two ends on it, only one of them, they're both electrically connected. And I say this several times, if you can see that. That's mostly for mounting, right? These two ends, just like a fluorescent bulb, to physically mount in the fixture replacement, in this case, a 4-foot. T8 meaning that you cannot use it with any kind of ballast. Okay, you have to rewire. And so versus, now there's another one, I don't remember what the designation is, fellas, because I'm not planning on using it, but there is another variant to this bulb. I'm sorry, I should have looked it up. I didn't. I might put it as a leader in here. But as I speak, there is a version of these bulbs that you can use with either this kind of ballast or an electronic ballast. And they essentially, you take out your fluorescent bulb, you plug one of these in, you're going to get some additional efficiency, but not as much. Okay, nowhere near as much. That saves you from having to rewire. That saves you from all the frustration. You can plug it right in. If it's up in the ceiling, whatever. Yeah, it's easier. However, you're not going to get as much efficiency, and if one of your ballasts burns out or is starting to go, your LED bulb could be damaged. It will flicker. If you're trying to, like what I do with cameras, oh yeah, it's just going to be almost unusable footage. So I don't recommend going that route. So in this video, we're going to rewire. All right, so just to back up, T8, 6,000 Kelvin. And there is, let me put my glasses on. There is a rating in lumens, and I didn't really try to compare everybody. I will be in the future. I have all of the fixtures in here. All the bulbs are going. So I'm going to need to do this in the future. But its light efficiency is measured in lumens over watts. So lumens per watt. So depending upon how many watts the bulb is consuming, how much in lumens does it put out? So this is 130 lumens divided by the wattage. And you'll get a rating, and this is a PF of greater than 0.9. All right, so is that better than the next guy, the next bulb? I really can't tell you. If you tighten that number up, you get out more lumens, and for the same number, or tighten that number on the right-hand side up a little bit, you're going to have a more efficient LED. a lot more efficient. These things are purported to last 50% more than a fluorescent bulb. I've seen numbers of they make these claims. Is that true? I don't know. We're going to find out. I mean, hopefully I'm alive long enough. So I think that covers it, fellas. I've covered the ballasts, electronic ballast. I probably have a couple of electronic ballasts. I think there's one over there. But of all of these fixtures, of which I have a lot, and I have more in the basement, these are all the big magnetic or transformer style ballasts. So I decided, you know what, let's just rewire. All right, let's get started on the video, and I'm getting ready to put this thing up. The last thing I wanted to cover is you'll see is, I'm going to try to get the picture of it, but on the bulb, it describes this one end as being the line, which is this end, and the other end being the neutral. So I've set it up over here where one whole side is white or neutral or return, and the other side is all line. It really doesn't matter which end you pick, and I say this in the video, and I want to be clear. What I'm referring to is, it really doesn't matter which way the bulb goes. You might shorten the life of the bulb, but I doubt it. But more importantly, however you set up and wire, whichever side you make hot or whichever side you make neutral, doesn't matter. But just remember which side you used, and if your bulb calls it out like mine does, put it in the way they tell you to do. I'm not going to play engineer on this one. All right, I'll see you guys in a minute. So pretty simple. All right, we're going to use this white wire to indicate neutral. So let's pull it out. Watch out, it's sharp, so everything is sharp. Well, I want this one. And where does it go? It goes here. Okay. I'm going to take you. And just to kind of show you don't have to see like details, but all right. So again, on the right. And then we can take this white wire out here, which will be good, useful. And we can take this wire out. You see where I'm going? If we can get it out. There we go. All right, now we got it cleaned up a little bit, so we're going to use that yellow wire as a jumper. Let's put her back so we get lengths. And then we're going to take, we're going to have enough? Yeah. Take this blue wire out. Put that to the side. And just to kind of get a little bit of extra, something like that will be good. Let's cut it. It doesn't really, we don't really care what color is what. Okay. I'm going to poke it in this slot. Again, it doesn't really matter. Just get it in there. Yeah, seems like it's in there. You want to strip it back far enough to where you get some meat on the bone. Put you in, and you can see where I'm going with this, right? Just making a little daisy chain, so they're all going to be at a neutral point. We'll call this one the neutral point. Come here, you. Let's get this out. Just take it straight. So, and once again, we're going to bury the excess. Poke it in. Yeah, that's good. That one went in good. Get that wire out. I could have made it more wide or whatever. It doesn't matter. And let's get a guesstimate. That's it, fellas. Poke it in. Now, just to make it a little bit neater, right, so that it lays down nice. There's a couple ways to do this. Just, you know, take some of the extra. Okay, and then this guy, you can actually plug it into any one of these. We'll take it out through here. All right, I forgot to do that on the other one, so I'm gonna go back and fix that. It's just easier to put everything into that channel through here, okay? And we'll splice it. All right, so that's it. I already cleaned it as best I could. You know, it's not that important. Be back in a bit. So what we have, all right, so I use a black wire, right, to the red, as you can see. And just, I'm gonna tape these, and when I'm done, we'll put the cover back on, which I gotta clean. So I just ran a pigtail, okay, because mine, I actually have an outlet up there, so it comes out like an entire fixture. But power comes up, and I want to show you, right? So this is the black wire going over there. This is the white wire on this end here. And how you know, there's a white stripe on this. And I got my grounding the fixture itself. And just, well, you might be saying, well, how do you know, Arch? Well, any outlet that you're looking at, you're going to see the white wires here, right? Well, that terminal is white or silver. And these terminals are always darker, and that's where the black goes. So if you're looking at it, here's your ground. So just follow it down, see? So, like I said, this one has a white indicator on it. So whenever you're looking at one of these tongs, it's always the one on the left is going to be with the tong up, with the ground tong up. And this is for US, right? The one on the left is going to be white, but, you know, get an outlet and you can just check it just to see. Or you go online and look. And this one has, like I said, a white stripe on it. If you're just using Romex, you know, you're going to go to white. You want to keep the convention so you don't get ground loops and noise issues and, you know. Now, on this, it doesn't really matter. Let's just plug it in real quick. I just got one in here for now. Okay. So it's bright. So I'm going to tape these connectors up, these wire nuts, and then I got to clean the divider, and then I'll load this thing up, I think, with bulbs while I'm here. I just don't like the idea of it because I'm going to be lifting it. I don't know if it's a good thing or not, but if I'm careful with it, I think it'll be easier. So we'll be back in a minute. Let me just tape these up and we'll put that down. So you might be asking, let me see if I can get this out. Hold on, these don't come out that easy. They don't go in easy either. There's not a lot of room. You might be asking, why is it like that, Arch? Like, why? Let me see if I can get this up and out. So there's two tangs or connectors on each end of the bulb, right? And the point I want to get to, I don't want to break it. Hold on. There's not a lot of room. These are a little bit longer than the fluorescent bulbs. Either that or the way everything is going together is just, it's tight. Hold on. Give me a second. So the two tangs on a fluorescent bulb, one is like a neutral and path and one is a hot, but on these guys, okay, they're really just for locating. Either one can be neutral, either one can be, you know, hot, but on each end, these are at the same point electrically. Right, that's really all you need to know. Electrically, they're as if they were the same connector. It's just so it fits in this style of replacement scenario, you know, to replace a fluorescent fixture. And so it twists in and locks. So it doesn't matter, there's no negative or positive. These are electrically the same on that end. Either one you can connect to. Same thing here, right? It doesn't matter. All right, bulbs are in. So effectively what I've done is I've taken on one side, everything is hot, and on the other side, everything is neutral, all on that one leg. Okay, so I just daisy chained them over. And that connects to only one side of those two terminals that are on each side of the bulb because they're both physically, electrically the same. They're really part of the mount, right? The two fingers also act as the mount to hold the bulb in. So one side being neutral, the other side being hot, and we should be able to have some power. Let me plug it in, and it's bright. So everybody's just piggybacked. Wow, I can't even look at that, right? So I'm gonna go hang it. Let me clean up, fellas, and we'll get to the next step. I gotta climb up there. I'm gonna be standing on the table, and maybe I'll pull that over too, just to make it easier. And I'll climb up there, and it's on hangers, so I should be able to get it down. Ugh, yuck. All right, I'm gonna hang it. That thing needs to. That's disgusting, that thing. That's the sodium light, and there's another fluorescent. See the difference in the color? All right, I gotta hang the chains back. Might as well clean these chains real quick. They're really gross. Oh my God, guys. That actually might be too much light. Okay, I know it's hard to say, but there would normally be an orangey haze. So up there, that orange guy, which I don't really even need anymore. In fact, yeah, let's see. I mean, this is all lit. It's actually off center from the building because I've got that fan there, which we're going to need to deal with, but it's so bright. I probably will only need, here, let me turn off that orangey light. Okay, so the orangey light, it's got darker in this area because there is no light over here anymore. And you could see everything is very well lit over here. Especially the work table. Like, I finally have white light. It's almost too much. I'm still gonna, now this guy here, this is still fluorescent. We're gonna check the bulbs on it tomorrow and clean it real quick. But what I'm thinking is we'll hang another one of those fixtures up in this dark region where that guy is, right? And get rid of that light up there because we don't need it. All right, so we'll get rid of that sodium light. But yeah, look at how much of that area is lit, and it's dark out. It's almost too much. I think for over here, I'm going to go with a lower wattage bulb, or maybe I just won't use this big fixture. Or the other option too is I could put a switch in and go from 2 bulbs to 4 bulbs. All right. Anyway, let me go back to doing what I'm doing. It's getting late, and yeah, pretty cool. All right, fellas, I am really happy. So I cleaned up in here, even waxed the floor. I even put some wax on this table over here and on my bench over there and on my computer desk as well. The floor wax, by the way, it's a polymer. It's like a plastic coating. Anyway, I'm really happy. It's actually nighttime right now. I have that one little key light over here on my face, and I've got this light on. I cleaned all the bulbs, and I will be doing another fixture, soon, hopefully, within a month or so, and I'll get that another fixture up over there, and because that camera is actually in a dark section. But this amount of light, even at night, right, working over here. This one's not too bad, but I need another light over there to kind of shine this way a little bit more because that's the dark side of this lift table bench. So I'm really, really happy with it. It's pretty straightforward. Just follow it. Now, I gotta say, fellas, I'm not an electrician. I'm not a licensed electrician. I've worked in the field, and of course, you're allowed to do a lot of things for yourself, at least in this state. So check your local codes and laws. But it's worth it, right? Because it's fairly simple. It's worth it. 50% savings if you have one of those old ballasts, roughly, right? Maybe more. You could really be saving a lot of money. Everything on a budget today, fellas, things are getting really tight, and energy is just going to keep going up and up and up. And it'd be nice to try to keep, a similar lifestyle, right? I mean, because you're going to be spending money on something no matter what you do. These bulbs are not ridiculously expensive, and so they're not cost prohibitive in any way. What is cost prohibitive is changing over some old fixtures. Maybe just buying a new fixture and not even doing this, right? And a completely new fixture, all ready to go for an LED bulb system, or converting one of your old ones. That's really the conversion. But I have some nice fixtures. So I think we're good to go. I don't think there's anything else I can cover other than a disclaimer. Be careful, right? You're talking about electric power. I don't need to say wear glasses if you think if you're testing something, and just try to follow what I did or be inspired by it to get out there and do something. I can't think of anything else I can cover because it really is a fit to me. It's a straightforward, easy thing. Sometimes, fellas, you got to bear with me because it can be difficult for me to condense down, just so many years of knowledge. I'm so used to things. Like, I don't realize that when somebody, like I know mechanics that are really good at the mechanical side, whether it's lawnmowers or tractors or cars. But then when it comes to the electrical side, they're lost. Vice versa, too. All right. I've met electricians that don't know anything about really electricity because I've taken electronic courses and I've been playing with it since I was a kid. I think that's it, guys. Hopefully this inspires you. Save a few dollars. And lastly, the amount of light, which is just surprising to me. It's the real bonus because I can actually remove a couple of these fixtures. So there's a savings there, right? So with 4 bulbs, I can do more than with some of the existing bulb layout scenarios I've been screwing up in here whenever I had a little bit of time and money. So there's going to be a power savings for me just on that alone. All right. I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for stopping into Archer's Garage.